Dear family and friends, we're in for another adventure, no doubt. I apologize for being so late. We got stuck in town and had to do various things, including meetings and the like, but a lot of resupplying. Good news. Getting to hang out in Kingman is always a pleasant experience. Anyway, good to see you guys. Let me see, get on the chats here. Just another reminder, collective, hit the like button. Thanks, Wade. You're the first. You're right on things. I don't know if you noticed that copper went up today quite a bit, so there is some reason and rhyme to it. I think XRP still a great investment. Silver, of course, gold is great. I'm starting to invest in Mm, I started to buy a few stocks. I actually sold off my DJT because I realized it's a long play. The DJT stock with the fusion experiment that I believe that will happen when the creepazoids stop handling the stock market, when the stock market is free to express itself in a normal way. Hey, Andrew D. Smith, what's going on? So I'm not really heavily invested in anything right now except my land. That's my main investment, and I'm enjoying working and progressing. We bought some new pulleys today, so hopefully I'll be able to lift this 18-foot beam into place, and be able to do it routinely in the upcoming days. And I'll be able to. I'm learning the ways of having to lift things off grid to another skill. It's interesting. It's uh it's challenging, and it's kind of fun. It's very exciting. I understand the dangers, so I'm being very careful. Or at least I think I'm being very careful about not playing around with large beams that are hanging in space. I think the world is in a kind of implosion mode. I think everything is being activated in so many different ways that people are coming to implode, really basically implode. If you're not if you don't have a real rail to ride, this could be a very upsetting time. But I think a lot of people do have a sense of purpose, do have a sense of mission, and that will be the thing that guides you into the future as the walls of reality collapse around us. We're seeing the collapse of the matrix. It really means that everything we took as being real is now under question. I still want to drive up there just to buy a lunch. Yeah, at yeah, we had a nice breakfast at Dave's at Keto Carnivore. It was a wonderful experience. We I mean, we are moving forward into a new era of consciousness, a new way of doing things, a new way of seeing things. The republic, I think, is key to all this, and I learned quite a bit about the republic today. And I just want to inform or share what I learned. One is that there never was a republic in Arizona because Arizona wasn't didn't become a state until 1912, and the republic was long hidden by then. So we're trying to form a local wing of the republic here in Mojave County, which is a very interesting place because it's a place for people who are not mainstream in my view of things. And that could look different to different people. Like, would I consider the uh, the libs, the protesters, kind of mainstream? It doesn't really matter. But the point is that Kingman is not a place for that necessarily. It's not a well developed kind of elite sort of place. It's a place where men have beards and carry arms and have a look about them like they just got off their Harley. It's just like they could look kind of grubby. And I'm talking about myself as well. Although I don't really think of myself as a Harley kind of dude. I do have one Harley shirt that Daniela shares with me. But there's a sense out there that the world is becoming something new. You have the chemtrails going on. When we're in town, it's not, it's for me, it's not the most pleasant. I don't really, I enjoy it in that I like to get things done, and I like to get them done in a systematic way so I can go back home. It's not a place I really like to lounge around or kibitz, or we do a lot of chatting, but we want to get home. And I'm sorry we got here late. Shelby here. Hey, Shelby. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I actually couldn't find the short videos. I couldn't find our clip. We may have to do another one, but but just keep on keeping on. Shelby is an amazing person, and we did a quick recount of LifeWave and yeah. So I was in keto carnivore this morning, pretty early in the day for us, early in the day, and like all kinds of interesting couples like my age just kept parading through the door. And one such couple came in, and they said, I think it was because Daniela just got she got a little business card that says LifeWave. But while I'm at it, let me just share her info. I made a new post for her. But if you want to get a hold of Daniela, it seems like people like to sign up under Daniela. So I'm encouraging her. I think it's great for her. I think it's great for her to have a business. I think it's great for her to have an income. God forbid anything should happen to me, she'll have a nice business going. So I'm very excited about it. It benefits us both. I mean, I also reap the benefits of her. She signs a lot of people up. She's very consistent. She tends to call back, and she has the time to do this kind of thing. So I encourage you to do that. But anyway, we got some cards made up, some business cards for Daniela, and we put them up at Keto Carnivore. And this couple said, LifeWave? And then it was like we were we were we were having a LifeWave party. We were sharing. They were like, "Yeah, I got one here, and then I got one here, and I got one here, and it was just like we were basically almost unrobing in front of each other. I mean, showing below your belly button. That's a very big spot for the patches. So we met this couple, and they said they met through LifeWave. That somehow they found each other through this shared experience, and they've been into it for, like, I guess they said 17 months. I don't know, but it was a wonderful couple. It was like Danny and Dennis. It was like or Dan. Two D's. They joked about the D. We're not D cups, but the they met through LifeWave, and they were just this delicious couple that had moved to Locust Valley, which is close to us. But in Kingman, they're basically you have people that are not. I mean, a lot of them are escapees from California, but they're not kinda like uptight people. They're like wild hippie types that are a little older. It's really fun. It's really fun to be in Kingman and meet such people, but they're everywhere. Or couples, like couples like my age that are just delicious, and he's got a big beard and she's still dressing like she probably did when she was 15. It's just that's Kingman. At any rate, it seems to me that the world is a kind of in an implosion mode. Why do I say implosion and not explosion? Because it seems to be there's people are becoming more themselves and not just losing it. I mean, there is that element of losing it, of the kind of the protests and the screaming matches. It's to me that we're coming into the era of. Let me get the chats on again. Great to see. Yeah, Shelby is the best. By the way, Shelby trying to apologize to me for like basically volunteering to help us in any way she could. I was like, "Why are you apologizing for that? That was so beautiful." I mean, this is the kind of thing that always got me in trouble. Like at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning, I would have this revelation about something. Like I have to call my boss and tell him this, and often I would actually do it, and then I would be like, well, that's not the kind of thing you do with your boss and all this other bullshit. But it's like these are expressions of our real humanity. But anyway, um, Shelby was just, she was offering to help us with, I was on the channel saying, I really need help with LifeWave. I want people to step up to the plate. I want to form communities around LifeWave, around sharing LifeWave. And Shelby was just like, let me come and help you. We'll help you build. And it was just so beautiful. But this shows to me a kind of a character that that is the essence of what you want to be hanging around with. And I think of my friend Vinicio. I've told the story recently about when I was a contractor, a remodeling contractor. This kid was like dumped off on my building site, and his cousin knew me from somewhere, from the town of Port Washington at the time in Long Island, and Vinicio from Ecuador, who spoke no English, was suddenly on my crew. He didn't ask what he wanted to get paid. Nothing. He just started working. And that was Vinicio, man. Vinicio was the best of the best because he had the heart. Everything is about heart. It's not about. I mean, I had all these carpenters. At the time I had mostly an Irish crew, and they were wonderful guys, and they were so talented and so poised and really just wonderful people. And skilled, but they didn't have that the purity, like no ulterior motives. Vinicio, he worked for me for years. I ended up firing everybody else, or they all went their separate ways, and I went back to work with Vinicio. I just worked as a carpenter and a helper, and I made more money. It was much more successful than I was when I had 10 guys working for me, and I was scrambling around trying to do all these contracts. Just me and Benicio would go in and fix things, and it was amazing because he had heart. He never said to me, "Oh, we can't do." It was he had no doubt. He was a totally holy dude, like Shelby. He was just like straight ahead, man. And that's the kind of person you want to work with. You want to work with, or Grant. Grant's like that too. Grant just said, let's just do the LifeWave thing, man. Let me help you. Without thinking, without hesitation. I saw a thing on X where somebody said, if you want to make a decision, you should take 3 days. So the first day you'll be all emotional. The second day you'll be scared. And the third day you'll be somewhat rational and you can make your decision. I say that's total bullshit. And that is so, to me, that is so ungodly. It's so reasonable. It stinks of Matrix. The Matrix. What am I really, fuck that. If you are inspired to do something and you feel it in the moment, just do it. Just do it. You don't have to if you don't have that clarity, this is what the Matrix makes us doubt everything we do. That's the Matrix. Oh, well, is it okay for me to say that to you? I'm like, hell yeah, it's okay to, if you say something like that in the Department of Education when you're in the matrix of the Matrix, you'll get in trouble. Like I got in trouble for basically saying to a woman that I was quite friendly with that she was very attractive, and I was noticing that all these men were constantly looking at her, and she flipped out. I mean, is that a horrible thing to say? In the Matrix, it is. That's because in the Matrix, we have to doubt ourselves and we have to categorize and we have to judge everything. But that Matrix is dead. It's dead and dying. The criminals are being exposed. If they haven't been arrested, like in Fulton, Georgia, Fulton County, they're taking all the voting records. This was a theft of an election. This is dishonesty on steroids. The world is exposing itself. These creeps in Georgia, they're going to get arrested, and they should have been arrested a long time ago. Or maybe timing is everything, but everything is coming. Everything is being. We're all seeing people implode, like becoming the best or the worst that they are. In Minnesota now they're saying that this has been a planned cover up. They got all these people from all these different states to come in and run this political organization. These were all their henchmen, and that this is probably a cover up for some kind of huge child trafficking ring. That's what Minnesota is really about. That's what they're really trying to cover up. Now, I don't have anything to prove that, but it would make sense. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the children. It's all about the children. It's all about the children. It's all about the future. It's all about coming back into an era of sanity. So there never was a republic in Arizona, but there will be, because the republic, the idea of the republic. So you have Daniela's thing, but you can call her, you can Instagram her. She'll get back to you, and you'll have a conversation, and you'll try we'll invite you to try the patches. They're amazing. That this couple, they were like dancing at Dave's. They were dancing at Dave's. So like, look at all these patches. They're like, this stuff is life changing. It's light changing as well. It's light changing. Because it affects your light body. So there's a whole alternative kind of like quiet culture in Kingman that I'm really enjoying. These are the people I would have met at Rainbow Gathering 30, 40 years ago. They're the same people. It's like, but now they've settled in the West Coast, and they're making the best of it. And Dave's keto carnivore is like a central focus, because there's no other place to get really to get a healthy food in a restaurant. There's nothing else. Applies to talking to chicks, yeah. like you say, demon of doubt. It's demon of doubt. Yeah, it's the demon of doubt. It's like my body says I love this. I love you. I mean, my father was way ahead of his time. My father was the huggy man. He just loved to hug people, including me. I mean, and I had cousins that would like run in fear when my father was around because he would hug them. And when I was religious, I was like, Dad, you're touching a woman. I was like, I was like a newbie to the religion. I didn't. It took me a while to process all this stuff, but to be yourself, to see somebody and say, I think you look so cool. Like these people that were like this woman was like taking off her shirt to show me all her patches. I'm like, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's beautiful. But yes, the demon of doubt. We all doubt ourselves. Oh my gosh, I called my boss at 5 in the morning to tell him, well, the stuff that I called him at 5 in the morning was probably quite brilliant, quite brilliant. But I'm not saying that scenario, but that's the kind of thing that would occur to me. Alcoholics do it too. I mean, I was I am an alcoholic. So you can get drunk and call people and say things that you might be really embarrassed about the next day. I don't know if you're really saying something you would say. Probably you would say it ordinarily well. It's just that the alcohol loosened you up and you felt less inhibited. But I don't drink anymore and I don't make weird phone calls in the middle of the night or any other time. It's just not not drinking to me is gives clarity to life that is delicious. Everything that was hidden shall be revealed, right? And everything that's been covered shall be uncovered. Yeah, it's happening. But I just wish it would hurry up, let it be done. Right. We all want it to happen faster. There's no doubt about it. It's kind of it's maddening because we're there, but we have to unlearn a lot of our slave mentality, our slave thinking, our demon of doubt, our hesitancy to be ourselves, our hesitancy to uncover our hand, to show our hand. It must be we need to learn how to be sovereign, and it's all about the republic. So let me just go to that again. To join the republic. Let's see. Let me see. Where did that go? Here we go. Okay. Yeah, just so you know, it's a very simple thing. It's a relatively simple thing to do to join the republic, but to get people to actually commit themselves on a local level. But this is where we must rebuild the republic. Because the corporate system is a bunch of smoke and mirrors, and it's the matrix, and it's dissolving. It's being defunded. Their fiat scam is no longer actively worth. It's not a play. I see these expert economists that I don't know if they know about Q or not, but like I was looking at this comment by, I think it was Peter Schiff, who unbelievable, hush, by divine providence, I was in a doctor's office a couple months ago and I met his mother-in-law. We just had a nice moment together. We connected in a very deep way. And she told me that her son-in-law was Peter Schiff, and he's saying that the Fed is buying up gold and fiat currency is dead forever. And it's like, We know that. We've known that for years, and like, I didn't see who was saying that, but yeah, we wish it would hurt. Yeah, it was Jason that we've been ready. I mean, we've been ready for years. I remember telling my brother about XRP and gold and silver, that he should buy gold for mom, because he invests for mom. He keeps mom. He basically supports my mother, and he just laughed at me. He's like, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. Gold, silver, but you have to realize, and this is okay. So here's something that's very important for members of this community to understand. We are early. We are ridiculously early. XRP is trading for $2 a coin. There's going to be a time in the near future where you're going to tell people, yeah, I bought XRP at $2. They're going to be, holy shit, were you ahead of your time? You were light years ahead of the rest of the world. Or silver. You bought, there are people that have been stacking silver for 50 years. But something that Casper said, Gary and Casper of Quantum Bridge, that Casper said to me, we were walking in Kingman in a there's a natural park that I was very excitedly showing Casper what these this sort of Monument Valley kind of place. It's wild. The veil is so thin. Lots of peeps are witnessing the Great Awakening. I think so. Yeah. But Casper said something very interesting, and I want you all to think about this, because I think this is Casper. If you haven't seen Quantum Bridge, these guys are like the smartest, most intuitive. They are light years ahead of me. They're just totally in tune with the nuances of this cosmic shift that's taking place. But Casper said to me, he said, we make a lot of videos and they're out there. He said, not as many as you, but we make a lot of videos. And he said, we don't get 5 million hits. We don't get 30,000 hits. I sometimes do, but generally, people aren't hip to this kind of thinking yet. But what Casper said, which is so made me feel a lot better about things. He said, Ellie, all those videos are out in the digital field, in the on the in they're in that digital space somewhere. So when people do wake up, they can see your show from 5 years ago, and things will connect, that you've already moved on. That the idea that it wasn't for nothing, that everything we've been through is not for nothing. Do I need a tangent wallet if I use Uphold? I would say my opinion is fuck no. They want to get us all afraid that crypto isn't, I'm sorry. I'm not, this is just my opinion. And I know that, it's not, it's like, why do we have to be afraid all the time? And I'm not angry with you. It's a great question. But it's a question that I got scammed out of 300,000 XRP coins. 300,000. Some scammer just convinced me. That was back when Coinbase was like, we're delisting you. I didn't know what to do with my stuff, and I got this text. It appeared to be from somebody I knew, and they said, you've got to move your XRP right away, and I was scared. And another person said, if you had had a hard wallet this way, no, it would have happened anyway, because I gave them permissions. I gave them my keys. I stupidly, in a moment of fear, did this. But a hard wallet wouldn't have helped me. I just don't believe that anyone's going to get that on Uphold or Coinbase or any of these, like, sort of, these are banks. I don't, I don't think so. And I think I think it's another level where you could screw up and mess up and forget your password or forget your 100-word, security key. I mean, there are levels and levels. Listen, I don't own that much anymore. Like back in the day, I got scammed, but it wasn't from guys stealing my stuff online. It was from me being stupid and scared, and letting some idiot, some scammer talk me, thinking it was somebody else, thinking it was a friend of mine, telling me, "Ellie, you've got to get your stuff off of the platform because the whole world is," it's just whatever. But I've learned to live with it. It's not easy, but I've learned to live with it. And it just happened because I was able to buy XRP at, 15 cents, 20 cents, and I could stack a tremendous amount of it, and I did. But I got scammed. I got scammed by a couple of other people. But it wasn't from them just getting on online and stealing my code or anything like that. It's when you do something stupid, you do not respond to anybody. If somebody is saying it's Ellie Weber and I want to do a business deal, I want to help you with something. It's not really me. It's some scammer in a foreign country who probably can't speak English, but he spends all his days looking for people to scam. And there's no the FBI was, I filed I let the FBI know that these people had stolen my stuff. Never heard from them. It's just it's gone. But that's the way life is. You just you never count your money while you're sitting at the table. But having I don't I know people are asking me, like, do I need a hard wallet? I think they're just selling hard wallets. That's my opinion. It, you know, and if you're going to get scammed, it's not going to be from Coinbase. Somebody scamming Coinbase. That your stuff just disappears. In my opinion, I don't know. I don't know. I put that under the category. If you're really afraid of something, you're kind of drawing it to you. But the life goes on. And was there a reason for me to lose all yeah. I mean, it just, I didn't understand. I didn't know. And it's gone. So um the creators will, yeah, content creators will never do right. Content creators will never reach out to you. Coinbase will never call you, email you, and tell you you've just been scammed. That is not Coinbase. That is a scammer. And they do it all the time, constantly, until they find somebody who's trusting enough and good enough. And that's why we're going into another financial system, because the financial system has been run by thieves, by murderers, thieves, scammers. Okay. They may go by the name of Larry Fink or uh, whatever. They may be the head of, but they're still scammers, and they're still thieves, and they're still tricksters. The world we're going to is not going to be like that. And I do have a lot of respect for Alex West. But I was listening to a tape of his, and he was saying, like, that in the future evil will be punished. If you do something evil, you'll just be. I don't see it that way. I just think that you won't, that the consciousness of evil at its source will not exist. It won't be a matter of, like, I'm afraid to do evil because I'm going to get arrested. It's like, I'm afraid to do evil because I don't even understand what evil is. I don't understand. You mean I could take your money from you and feel good about that? That consciousness will not exist in the near future. We're going into a shift. This is what me and you and we all we really can't comprehend yet, is that this is a huge shift in consciousness. The quantum financial system, the GESARA, the Board of Peace. This is GESARA. There's not going to be any wars. There's not going to be any theft. There's not going to be any fraud. There's not going to be any dishonesty. It won't exist. You will I've said this in different ways, but and this is not my thought. This is a thought that I was taught in mystic Judaism, that the ability to do something not, not kosher, not proper. I don't want to say kosher, but not proper, to do something harmful to another human being will not exist in the future. And you will look back at the times now and wish that you could go back in time so that you could prove that, because we have a choice now. We have a choice between good and evil. You won't have I'm saying to Alex West is that it, in my opinion, it's not that you'll be ratted out right away because the quantum financial system just won't put up with it. It's just that you won't even be able to comprehend evil. It won't exist as a thought form, as a force. It will just be gone. However, and this is something that we have to be on our guard about. It seems to me that the Tartarians or the Atlanteans or the Lemurians or the ancient peoples may have evolved into such a state that they also couldn't imagine evil, and evil crept in and scammed them out of their everything. It scammed them out of their world. That evil would have to come from a separate source than the mainstream humanitarian source. I didn't know you. I don't know if you heard tonight. I saw you here. Was it disappointing what happened? Content creators will never do that right. Boy, just had a falling out with a Patriot broadcaster. Ready to be back here. Thank you, Randall Scroll. Yeah, there are a lot of wolves hanging out in sheep's clothing. At the end of the day, you really have to judge for yourself. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. I mean, you can listen to me too, because I think I've kind of I don't know. I'm just saying, yeah, I know. There are too many edges. There are too many people that know what's going on, and it's this, not that. That's third dimension stuff. Well, I don't even bother with it. It doesn't interest me. That's not saying that I don't get up in the middle of the night and see how much my XRP is worth, what I do have left, which is not anywhere near what I had in the past. But what do you think of flat Earth? I totally, when I first heard Phil, Phil of all people, he did a thing on flat Earth. I was like, what? Flat Earth, But I think it makes sense to me. I don't think we know what anything about our. We've been brought up by liars and thieves. This NASA bunch. These are criminals. The whole globe thing and everything else. I totally believe in the flat Earth. I mean I'm open to the idea. If somebody says it's round, I'm open to that idea too. I'm not really in a position to or to really care what's true. It's not that much of an interest to me. I was a burning truth seeker all my life. I mean, I would do anything to find out the truth. Like I said a few nights ago, I spent hours and hours in the Vanderbilt libraries looking at Mayan pictographs, looking at Egyptian things, looking to find out, and I finally ended up in mystic Judaism. They had a Jewish library, and finding out about the Baal Shem Tov, who was a great sage in the 1700s. I was burning with wanting to know what is really going on, and I searched and I searched and I searched, and I can't say I finally found the truth. But I finally I'm not interested because to me, truth is whatever I believe to be true. What do I want? Where am I holding today? I want to eat an orange today. I want to lift a 20-foot beam up and build a second floor on my house. I want to walk around on my property and see if I can find some cool rocks. That's reality. I want to make sure that that I'm good with Daniela. That if we have a little spiff, which we do a lot of times, so we hug each other and just say, it's okay. I didn't mean it. It'd be, but to find out the truth of what's really going on, I'm just not interested anymore. And it's not that I found the truth. It's just that I found like something resembling, I don't know what it is. Like I was trying to explain to Dave this morning that like if you want to ask, if you want to, like he was testing out a sample of a food that he wasn't sure he liked the taste of it. And I said, well, don't ask me, because for me, food is food. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't, if something's delicious, I don't know that it's delicious, but it's just food. I'm just, it doesn't, except for potato chips, maybe. Yeah, potato chips, I definitely lose my mind for, because the experience of crunching. I guess Anyway, sending good vibes to you both. Thank you. Railroads are Tartarian. I've heard that as well. Yeah, you agree with her. He's referring to the Bible describing globe. I answered, there's no actual globe. The globe is satanic. Yeah, because in Genesis, the God created the firmament. They didn't say anything about a globe spinning through space. Are now trying to get away with been talking about for years. Unfaithful man for broadcasters got to discern. Too many people are now trying to get in on what we've been talking about for years. Yeah, well, we're like old school, man. We've created a thought stream that is, I think, is totally unique. Now we don't have broad backing. We don't get millions of viewers. We should, and maybe like Casper says, that someday people will look back and say, "This guy's been talking about it for years." I'm a former military pilot, and you never had to adjust for pitch on a long flight if we were right. If we were on a globe, right? Thanks, Data Boy. Yeah, it's what do you call Mexican food in Mexican food, right? Exactly right. Um, we've been played for years. So this is a giant awakening, and that's, it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful. But at the end of the day, it seems to me we need to form the republic. What is the republic? The republic is quiet, it's divine, it's local. It's not a government that wants to tell people what to do. It's a government that wants to tell people, you're a free man. Well, I have no right to interfere with you. If you want to be friends, you want to work with me, cool. If you don't want to work with me, that's cool too. But forming this republic is a real challenge in to us in Mojave County. And that's a good thing, because we're learning how to work with each other in a real way, where it's not like, well, that violates rule B6. That's just bullshit. That's the Satanist government. They have all these rules and regulations, and you think because they have so many rules and regulations that they really exist. But that's just a cover up. Because if you really existed, you wouldn't need all those rules and regulations. You wouldn't need all the endless licenses. You wouldn't need inspectors crawling up your whatevers. You wouldn't need this nanny state. You wouldn't need these environmental protections. You wouldn't need any of that shit, because you're living and you know what's right and what's wrong. Ordinary people don't go around polluting rivers. That's satanic corporate structures that do that. and they need to protect you from themselves. They need to set up laws so that they can make you think that you are the villain when they're really doing it themselves. I think that's what a lot of it is. Go with the flow, don't fight it, easy. Yeah, it's go with the flow. But yeah, also I wrote 2 songs from poems already. That's so beautiful, man. I love that, Randall. I really do. I had suitcases full of things that I in a moment of inspiration just wrote down. I had so much paper of all the little lines that I wrote down on napkins, and I mean, I've been doing this since I was 5 years old. Just things would occur to me, and it would just be like, "Wow, man, that is so amazing." And it is. It is. It's just that you've been told that, "Oh, that's just, that's silly." No, it's not silly. It's essential. It's godly. It comes directly from your soul. These little things that you write down on napkins. These are inspired, divinely inspired um, entries from other aspects of your collective of your soul. Your soul is speaking to you. I said to a woman today, there was a woman in one of the stores we went to, and she just is a very nice person. She's been consistently like sort of just kind of like she's a young woman. She's like she could be your granny. She has this sort of like granny way about her. And I said, you have a great voice. You could be a voiceover person. And she just was like, yeah, you're right. I could be like a niche. She had that kind of voice, but the soul is attached. Your soul, your divine self, expresses itself through thought, speech, and action. When you get these inspired things, it's not like it's you at your in your higher self. Um, But yeah, also I had my first coffee table book, Quiet Before the Storm, Memoirs of an Austin Firefighter. That's so beautiful. Photos of disasters, my poetry about my life's wreckage. That's so beautiful, Randall. I mean, I'm so proud of you. I love that. Earth is flat. The Tatars built the previous. You're right. It could be Tartars. It could be Lemurians. It could be who knows what they were. But all the records have been erased, and hopefully we'll find out soon. All engineers know there's no curve. It's amazing. I mean, it's just like no. I mean, it's just an absolute no. The world is not a globe spinning through space at a zillion miles per hour. It's just not. Podcast about the book on Chris Voss channel. Would love to send it to you. Great. And please start channels. Start expressing yourself. We have all we the internet. Uh, they reconnect me. The internet is the vastness of space, this collective consciousness that is screaming for you to come out and share something that will really elevate somebody to a very high level. Maybe it's a larger goal and captured. Yeah, we don't know. We really don't know. And not knowing is a very to not know that to know that you don't know is a big improvement over knowing something that's a lie. For being who you truly are and staying committed to your channel. Thank you. Yeah, I know it's been well, I do it for my own sanity. I would go nuts. I would go absolutely nuts. And this is something else that I really wanted to share with people that are on this channel, and it's something that I've been experiencing a lot lately. Is that without the matrix, without living in their fear space, when you're not generating loosh 24/7, it's not always comfortable. It's not like, I don't, my intellect is not functioning in the fear space. And suddenly you find yourself in a space where you just don't know. all the attachments, all the things you thought about in the past, you'd be worrying about your mother, you'd be thinking about the girl you love, you'd be thinking about, oh my gosh, what am I going to make for dinner? All that kind of thinking is gone. I don't have it anymore. So I'm in a kind of a space where the only thing that I seem to be kind of focus on. I'm like, okay, am I okay now? I like there's no up or down. There's no home. There's no like, let's go back to the way it was, or let's just buy a new house and live. Well, there's none of that. There's no like, well, I'm connected to this family, and I have my cousin. I'll call my cousin, and all that is completely gone. It's like we are floating through a dimensional portal right now where there's no anchor. There are no anchors. There's no port in the storm. There's no, I'll just go back to my old coffee house and have a nice coffee with my friends. We There's none of that. It's gone. So we are in a space of where total creativity is necessitated. We're in the abyss. We're in a higher level of consciousness as a collective. We have elevated ourselves to this place where the things that used to be so confining and so defining of ourselves are gone, but not just gone. They're gone. They're just gone. They're not like, well, if I drive through, yeah, I remember in the old days, I'm like, I'll go visit Sparky, man. I don't know what's going on in my mind. I'll go to Georgia. I'll go see Greg and trip out on DMT and smoke some pot with Greg. Greg would take me to these. He took me to literally an untouched forest and somewhere in North Carolina. We drove for hours. We smoked a bunch of pot together or tripped, or I don't know what we're doing, but I grooved out in a place that was untouched. It was an amazing sight. But those kinds of experiences they're not open to me anymore because at I was 30 years ago. At this point, it would not, like seeing the Grand Canyon. It's mind-boggling. But it's no different from driving around in my truck trying to figure out, like, do I feel comfortable not knowing about anything? Do I feel comfortable? And a lot of times the answer is no. I don't really feel totally comfortable with not having this kind of angst, this kind of slave drive, this kind of imprisonment, like, oh, yeah, it's all about this, or it's all about that, or it's all about flat earth, or it's all about XRP, or it's all about, I mean, even that could be kind of a defining reality. But we are boldly going where no man has gone before, in my opinion. At least no one, nothing in records, where society is just completely deflating. It's like a big balloon has been popped, and and or our sense of attachment, our sense of anchoring, our sense of, even though I don't like it, even though, like, I was thinking of Thanksgivings of 60 years ago, 65, when I was a young boy going to my cousin's house for Thanksgiving and thinking to myself, I don't really like these people. They're always trying to compare me to my cousin, and then I'm looking up to my older cousins, and this whole society that was constructed as reality is gone. It doesn't there's no none of it this one's in Alaska, this one's in the Caribbean, this one's upstate New York. We never see each other, much less even email each other. It's gone. There's no going home for most of us, or for some of us, or for a good number of us, and home isn't what it was anyway. This is home because we have become uh inhabitors of the thought stream. We live inside of our thoughts. and not so much our emotions. I think emotions can be um, limiting. The people like if you go on X, all these stories are like, what the protesters did what, the chemtrails, all these kinds of like flashpoints take you out of your your real understanding of not understanding. I mean, this is kind of sounding a little bit Alan Watts, and he said he put out a tape. He says, "Don't tell people you're enlightened. Don't tell people like this is what you should do. They won't relate to it. They don't want to hear that." And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It what matters is that, and what matters is that in what I'm leading to is that that I have become somewhat comfortable being uncomfortable. That's really where I and it's an elevation for me. It's a point that's higher than where I used to be, because I'm just like, you know, I live off grid. I relate to that. I mean, that's kind of an attachment point. I make, it's important to me. I live in an RV. I live with Daniela. We do everything together. Not always easily. Sometimes there's friction. Sometimes, she wants to do one thing and I want to do another thing. I mean, that's just natural. But neither of us are attached to like a greater family. Or I mean, we have family people that we talk to, but our family is really inside the thought stream. That's why it seems to me important for me personally to broadcast every day. It's not like I'm making tons of money, but I am fulfilling myself. I am hurling through thought space and finding a kind of a place where people can coexist without the hard edges of judgment and emotion, and oh, you can't do that, or this is no good, or I don't like people that do that. It's not even it's not in our language anymore. It's not. I've got two new ones and book. It's so beautiful that you guys are doing creative stuff. I love this. It makes about $1 trillion difference to dissolve in which it would happen instantly. Yeah, we're both retired teachers, but she's a closed-minded libtard. Yeah, I know, man. I don't understand why the brightest kids, so-called brightest kids in my school, are now libtards. They're like white women that are like, rooting for the illegal aliens, they're people in power. I'm just like, what happened to you? How did you get on the wrong side of history? How did you were supposed to be like the smartest of the smarts, and you're a fucking idiot. What happened? It doesn't make sense. But here's what I've come to understand to some degree, and that is, like, when I compare myself to my brother was brilliant student. Just he didn't even have to work. He could just get great grades, and he just like it was easy for him. And I was like always out on an adventure. I was always doing weird stuff and getting into trouble and ending up in rehabs and, in getting into accidents in Harlem, and, back in the day when Harlem was Harlem. And he was recruited by the CIA, and just became more and more, and I'm thinking like, he got the highest grades on the SATs. I'm like, and I'm looking. I still love my brother. It's just he's not somebody I can really be around anymore, because he's gone so far in that direction. But it is that intelligence. So the IQ tests and everything else are made for people like my brother. But I always thought to myself, well, don't I have a kind of an intelligence too, a kind of a creative intelligence that's very different from my brother's intelligence? I think so. You're in Kama right now. We could learn. Yeah, but the point is to learn your songs, really, to write your songs, and not my songs. I think we played together. I watch my lunch break for a comedy. Yeah, I love my lunch break. That's a great. There's a he's wonderful. Two new ones in my books. That it's great that tonight you guys are really in. We're getting a lot of creative comments. I really appreciate that because that's what this is all about. And the Kama, I'm not sure. Kama. Oh, that's a place 50 miles away, still in Kama. Interesting. In Arizona somewhere. Arizona is turning out to be a very big place for creative minds. Arizona. We just got through winter. Winter was like 3 days long. I mean, it'll come back, I know, but we're going to have like 10 days of 60, 70-degree weather now. I can do some serious building, hopefully. And I'm going to be getting some more quarter rounds and stuff. But anyway, I didn't get to the news. Why do we educate? Why do educate push algebra? Right. It was a really good leap of faith. Played it all over. Yeah. I sold my place and moved here to play, and it was a really good leap of faith. Yeah, it seems to me that it's sometimes really beneficial to just go with your gut. Just say, sometimes you have to F it. Just say, hey man, I've been here for like I was in New York for almost 30 years. And I was like, I think it's time to go. Let's go. Both in Houston. Holy moly. You're both in Houston. Nice. My son likes Houston. Randall Seabrook. What a great name. Seabrook. I love it. Um, yeah, amazing. Amazing. I have all this news, but it's like it means nothing. Iran, they're about to attack Iran. They're about. I'll go for a little. Let's go for a little while, and then. But yeah, join the republic. It's an it. The people that we met with today were saying that it could be that the corporate structure will fight back against us. I'm not in a position to really worry about it. I mean, I after I lost my job, after I lost my YouTube channel, it's like I'm out. I'm not playing with you guys anymore. I was like, I'm going to try to make my way back. I really want to get rehired as a public school teacher in New York City. Not really. So yeah, we got this. All right. So let me go to a couple things, but there are some very important thoughts here, in my opinion. This is one. Clarity isn't activated, it's revealed when the noise is removed. That's from Zachariah Fisher, who I like his things. He's been posting a lot. And I use that I hope he doesn't mind. I use that. We all told the Federal Reserve was absorbed. I mean, this is the kind of detail that I no longer find interesting. Silver is going up. Yeah, we know that. That's beautiful. Vietnam has joined the Board of Peace. This Board of Peace is Jassara. That's what they're saying. All this Fox News alert. Who the fuck cares? Breaking Spain have withdrawn their objections. All 27 EU members now back the designation of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terror group. All right, so they're all aligning on the right side of things. If Bilbo asks um, chat, whatever it is, you're absolutely right. You found it. I've been with you a long time. It's only natural that you're fond of something that served you so well, especially when someone like Gandalf suddenly seems to start to want it for himself. I mean, okay. Maria Zack testified about the stolen 2020 election operation connected to Obama when he diverted 400 million from the infamous pallets of cash sent to Iran, funneling through the Dubai embassy to operatives in Italy and Merrill Lynch in Geneva, Switzerland. In return, the Italian Officials at Leonardo SPA used military satellites to help hack U.S. voting machines, flipping votes from Trump to Biden using CIA developed tools like Hammer and Scorecard, along with numerous other methods of fraud and manipulation. China reportedly coordinated the whole operation, providing the tech backbone and bribes to corrupt America. The CIA oversaw it, the FBI covered it up, all to install Biden as a puppet. This is the global election fraud cartel and the real threat against American democracy and the rest of the world. That is pretty impressive, man, to hear that. I mean, 6-year delta. You were talking about the Durham votes, right? Yes. Would you prefer to lead Canada? Trump, 74%. The red pill threads. Open the thread, pick a section. It says Anon. Okay, so all these things. Let me go to my own thread, because there were a few things that I thought were interesting. Vietnam joint, right? Copper futures are up. This is I think pretty cool.
Black people. So do y'all notice who isn't at these ICE protests / riots? Black people. Yeah. We're not going to be used anymore for your white liberal agenda that continues to use minority communities for your pet projects of trying to prove your sense of virtue and value to others. Yeah, we're finished with that. So please, stop it with these emotional ploys that are trying to beg Black people to come out and join you in defending our communities. Yeah, our communities aren't illegal immigrant communities. Illegal immigrants who come into this country, they don't respect us, first of all. Our tax dollars are being wasted on them thanks to you white liberals who we've been noticing for quite a long time have deputized yourselves as the overseers of all politics related to Black people. Yeah, there's no black and brown, there's no people of color, the groups and categories that you like to lump us into in order to carry forward your agendas of control, acting as overseers of our communities. Yeah, see, here's the thing. In the midst of your riots, where you're finally figuring out that you're FAFO, you're finding out, yeah, we're not interested. We see the game, we see the scam, and we're just not interested. So stop asking us to come out there. Stop asking us to join into this. I'm glad that you're finding out that you're just like everyone else. The white privilege that you're used to experiencing, yeah, that's gone now. Especially when you go out there on your vigilantism, pretending to be superheroes, where you think that you can stop 5,000-pound vehicles with your whistles. Yeah, we're not interested. Leave us alone. Leave us out of this. We have important things to do. And you know where else you effed up? When you decided that it was okay to barge into a house of worship and take it over and yell and scream and threaten children. Yeah, we don't get down with that. Y'all keep that shit to yourselves. We're not going to be out here advocating to replace ourselves with illegals. So
pretty cool. Okay, let's go. Brad Garlinghouse by himself said this: XR was always designed for a much higher price. Okay, that we all know, but I'm not going to play it. Zachariah Fisher. I like his post. The separation is happening. This isn't something coming in the future. It's unfolding right now. You can feel it in conversations, choices, reactions, and values. Some are clinging to an old, broken world that no longer sustains life, trying to preserve systems built on fear, control, and illusion. Others are releasing, letting what's false fall away, and stepping into something quieter, truer, and more alive. For those who read the Bible, this is the separation of the wheat from the chaff. For others, it's the versions of 3D and 5D, different language, same moment. The further we walk this path, the more obvious the split becomes. Stay steady, stay consistent, keep choosing truth, no fear. Family, we know who we are. I like that. The White House Monday will meet with executives from the banking and cryptocurrency industries to discuss path forward with crypto legislation. This is beautiful. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. That is huge. But here's the thing. This is Nasara Jasara. Trump's Board of Peace organization has secured membership from around 25 countries. According to the latest update, the organization has now added more members, bringing the total count to 40. Boom. This is Jasara. Think about it. It's about to get biblical. On exactly 117, the FBI conducted a court-authorized search of Fulton County, Georgia elections office. Okay, that's interesting. Elon Musk just nailed it. They must be hiding something very big in Minnesota to send their foot soldiers there from all across the country. Connect the dots where all the missing children are. Why are children daycare centers so important? Right? And here, listen. I don't know if you've heard this, but this is.
We're here to arrest a child sex offender, and you guys are out here honking.
No, we're press. We're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
Right. This is how people are programmed to defend the Matrix. I'm not going to go into this. This is an interesting post, but I'm not going to go into it. Let's go to War Correspondent. Proponents argue this contradiction points to a deeper power structure. Okay, well, let me go to the beginning of this. Wait. House votes in favor of broadcasting Guantanamo Bay proceedings online. So that's pretty big. But I think we're heading for a disclosure, for perhaps all these things are coming to light. We're coming into a new era of a new consciousness, a totally new consciousness that won't be so. We won't have our barbs gnawed out by annoying people. And something that also this occurs to me, and then I'll probably like wrap this up, but too many people believe it when they see it, right? Show them exact distractions. Yeah, there are a lot of distractions. Let the ding dongs find out, right? However, remember when Rusty Weir had his open mics on the lake? Yeah, I don't remember that. But I do think that we're coming into a totally new era of consciousness, and we can just let it unfold. But one thing that I was going to mention is that a lot of these kind of liberal people, in my opinion, they are demons. They are narcissistic. People say that narcissists are basically demonic, and they cling onto you, and you will start thinking about a certain. Like, I have this person from my past. I didn't even know this woman well, but I knew she was always like a goody goody, and she was always grade grubbing, and she was just like, she was just top of the class, and she probably went to Yale or Harvard or something, and she was, and now she's like screaming about these illegals, how wonderful they are, and how we should defend them, and they're all agreeing with each other as if their opinion is the obvious only way, that they're superior to the rest of us, and they know what's really going on. And I think these people are just narcissistic idiots, and they're so into their own stuff that if you try to even think about what they're doing, they will attach their tentacles, their blood-sucking narcissistic tentacles into you. Like this woman, I don't know if you remember, it was a couple of months ago, there was this woman who had this campaign against me. This was somebody that I literally knew intimately. From she took my virginity when I was 14 or 15. I don't remember what, but this was somebody I had some kind of relationship with, and then she just like ditched out and started attacking me. This is a demonic, narcissistic, and then you add on top of it they get vaccinated. Just stay away from even thinking. It's not enough to stay away from these creatures. You can't even let them into your thought stream. You have to be adamant. You have to guard your eyes, your ears, your nose. You have to put policemen around yourself. Protect yourself from demonic these are demonic forces. These are people that are relentlessly evil. They have nothing of their own. Their only thing is to destroy other people. But if you have a sense of purpose, if you have a sense of wanting to accomplish something, whatever it is, however you may think it's big or small, it doesn't matter. You have no time for this nonsense, and you'll just walk right over the bodies. Narcissistic behavior disorder is a real pandemic. That's an interesting thought, because I notice it too. As soon as I find, when I walk away from somebody, and this could even be on the internet. I have this one person from my class. I'm telling you about her. She was top of the class and all this other nonsense. She was a big lawyer, big corporate lawyer, and probably very successful and very attached to, being Jewish and feeling that she has some kind of righteousness and all the, like Orthodox Jews do not really think well necessarily of Reformed Jews. This is a Reformed Jew that, whatever. I don't even want to go into that thing. But the point is that why am I talking about her now? Is because she just, and I never had any interaction. I see her on Facebook, and that's another thing. I should never go on Facebook. I should never even, I broadcast on Facebook, but I should never go. Stupidly, I click on it once in a while, and then this person pops up. But these are narcissistic zombies that have been vaxxed to the max, and they want to put their bloods, because they have nothing of their own to go on. They want to put their little tentacles, like the remora eel on top of a shark or on top of a whale, just puts their mouth all over the whale and rides on forever. These are narcissistic, demonic, over-vaccinated, anyway, just keep it clear, keep clarity, keep peace. And we got this. Everything is coming into a great thing. We're coming into Jasara. If you want to know where we're going, that's it. Yeah. Facebook is evil. I mean, I every time I click on it, I regret it, because I'm thinking about these idiots for days. And a lot of times there are people that I may have had experiences with, but they're like, I don't know. It's just not for me. Facebook sucks. Yeah, it was made by DARPA, right? These are demons sent from the beginning. Yeah, we just have to walk past it and just keep going. But do not be the thing that I think we've talked about tonight is that don't be afraid to be afraid. Don't be afraid to be in the void. Don't be afraid to be experiencing long moments of, I don't really know who I am anymore, because that's the good news. That's the ascension taking place. That's it. I really don't know who I am anymore. And I don't, at the end of it, it's okay. It's a good thing that I don't know who I am, because who I thought I knew was me probably was some illusion that I believed in, that some version of me that other people saw in me that, I don't know, too many libtards. Yeah. Well, they're very loud. I played with Rusty Weir. Randall's an old friend of mine. Nice. That's cool. You're describing my sister. Yeah. I've been on there for interesting. Why I haven't been on there for 4 years? Yeah, it's demonic. It's demonic because they focus on their little things. Like I'm sorry, but it's like they all have their little causes and their little things, and it's just the real direction that I think we're heading in is the Republican, where we respect each other and work together in a very quiet, non-egotistical manner. Anyway, let's play the tune, man. Let's play a tune together. Yeah, like I said, if you want to check out the Lifeway product, um, let's see if I can find. Yeah, if you want to check out the Lifeway product, I highly recommend it. It's life changing. It's light changing. It really reflects your own light. That's what I met this person, a keto carnivore in Kingman, and she's just like showing me all her patches, and I'm like showing her all my patches. It's just like we're like, yeah, man, we got the patches. And these are like we're in our 70s, and we're like little kids, like dancing around. They were just so full of life. That's the bottom line. We are becoming alive. We are not being penned in by this and defined by a bunch of stupid, ignorant, narcissistic, over-vaccinated bullshit artists that don't even know they have no conception of what they're talking about. Or even worse, they think they know something. And that is very dangerous. If you're at a place in your life where it's like, I finally got it all figured out, you're in trouble, man. You got problems. You got issues, serious issues. If you're in a place you're like, I don't know, but it's okay. I think that's where we're heading. I think that's really what we should be striving for. It's just get to a place of not knowing. It's like I really don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't know where the world's going. I don't. It seems like everything is up in the air, and that's a good thing because we're going through the change. We're going through the portals. I spoke to a very wise man today, and I said to him, I said, are there portals around here? He says, they're all over the place. And I said to him like this, is it possible, because this is my experience, is it possible that the land actually changes before your eyes? He said, yeah, it happens all the time. You have to be able to see it. I said, I was seeing a cave. I was seeing an opening into the earth for many months. And then it just disappeared. It's not there anymore. It just went away. And these, when you live in a place where you are surrounded by nature, you start to see things. Like it's not a fixed place. Nothing is fixed, and that's where I think we're coming into this kind of symbiotic relationship with nature, where we also are constantly changing. That the part of being alive is to accept constant change within and around you. Even though, no one's building out here, I don't have neighbors building houses or condos or any of that. It's just raw nature on 360. And yet it's in a constant state of, and it's the desert. The desert doesn't really change very much. I mean, the changes are very subtle. For a piece of desert land to go to really, I mean, it's very delicate out here. If I move my car over a certain spot, it'll never be the same. I mean, it's a very delicate thing, and I try to be respectful of that aspect. The last thing I wanted was to come up here and to plow down part of a mountaintop so I could live and have a well, but that's what happened. And I just went with it. That's what the well digger would not come onto my land. He's saying, I'm not bringing my machines onto your place. It's all mountains. There's no flat place. So it's both a devastation, and yet it's a change that that I can shepherd and make into a beautiful place up here with fruit trees. And I expect that I think we saw like a either a small mountain lion or a lynx on our drive home today, like a pretty big sized cat running across the road. But they're very secretive. We don't see animals so much. Once in a while we surprise them, but not very often. But the idea that we are in a constant change, that's what Roseanne says. What is a human being? A human being is something that changes all the time. Someone who changes. You're in a constant state of change. And these lovely couples in their 70s, they looked you right in the eye. I mean, they weren't afraid to look, they were like that, they were like, it's like, namaste. Like I see another, I respect the other or myself in you. That's what we've been talking about. What is a guru? Like my friend Sparky Brown, whatever change I was going through, when I opened his door, he looked exactly like me. And he knew exactly what I was talking about. And he was like, oh yeah, let's talk about this. Let's, and it could be weird things that nobody else would ever talk to you about. So just be the change, just be okay with constant exploration and just live like a 5-year-old. We're going back to being wide-eyed and wondrous. So is a Tartarian railroad hub. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Your mountains are Tartarian ruins. Yeah, very well could be. Yeah, very well could be. I'm always looking for a way into the old, I expect eventually to have some mystic experiences out in these mountains. But it's all a mystic experience, and in a kind of subtle way. I mean, we're not seeing, like big red-eyed, one-eyed cyclopses coming out of the caves or anything like that. Thank God. It's been fun, but I got to run. Yeah. Okay. So let's call it a day. I know it's very late and I got a late start. Let's play our tune and just enjoy this is really kind of music transcends intellect. So let's just do this.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire, and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Moved into paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. go together, playing with the band, leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control, left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band, leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land.
Well, thanks to everyone for being here, and thanks for supporting Danielle and I with the LifeWave thing. We really appreciate it. It's a great trip. We put them on first thing in the morning, and they're good all day. Daniela wanted me to remind you. I couldn't really understand. She wanted me to remind you that. Oh, what she was saying is that we I want a free trip to Hawaii, but I didn't win the airfare, and I didn't win for a partner to come with me. So I'm not going to, I'm not going anywhere without Danielle. I mean, I couldn't function, and I'm not going to leave her up here by herself. So what she was saying is that, if you became a brand partner, and if you were able to create a business around this incredible product, this health product, you could meet us in Hawaii, and then we would have time to chat. I mean, we would be in a kind of vacation mode, and I don't know if I'm capable of vacation mode. I'm so driven. It's almost the thought of it, but at least Daniela could be in vacation mode. I doubt. When Daniela tries to, like, when we go to town, she's like, "Could you slow down?" I'm like, "I can't. I have to. I feel like I have this mission to accomplish, and I just can't. I can't just like relax. It's like I got to be on the mark all times." Thank you. Yeah. So thank you, Randall Crow. You signed. I'll send it up with you. Thanks so much. Life goes on. Yeah, it's going on, and don't worry about that. If you haven't figured it out yet, because if you have figured it out, you're in trouble. Okay. If you haven't figured it out, there's still hope for you. All right. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. I think I'm going to be meeting with members of the Republic at 2:00 tomorrow. And, no, that's my time. At 4:00 Eastern time, and at 6:00 Eastern time, I'll be doing my lifestyle channel with Nachum, with Norman and Grant. So you may want to tune into that. We're going to talk about all kinds of health things. These guys are brilliant, and it's really it's very interesting to talk with them. So we have two broadcasts, and then we'll do the regular Thursday night broadcast. Hopefully, I'll start it at an earlier time than tonight. Sorry about that. So may the force be with you. May you realize you are the force. You are the force. Your thoughts matter. Your thoughts create your reality. May source be with you. May you realize that you are the creative, the Neo of of the world, that nobody else can be you. You have a big job to do. And let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.